We serve anywhere from 600 to 1,000 children a year, and we're in business for 76, almost 77 years. So we're estimating that we serve about 76,000 kids in the history of our organization.
Here I am today on the other side of it, and never in a million years did I then imagine that there were so many people who really were working to change the lives of the youth, or the person who I was back then in a vulnerable state. Oh my gosh, this is definitely the same narrow hallway. This is the same room. One of the things that we would do to get points was clean the cafeteria. We had the option to help out, and everyone was really, that was kind of, you wanted to help out, you felt important. They involved you in chores, and you would tally up your points and come visit the point store. And yeah, this was a very special place. I'm so glad you made it a point to show me this, because I have very fond memories. There was a sheet of a little cutout body that looked like a gingerbread man. And so you would sit there after, of course, a night of trauma, and they would sit there and do the intake with you. And I remember feeling almost burdensome and like, I'm so sorry you have to do this, to the person on the other end, and they were so kind and trying to take such care, and I almost felt sometimes like they felt bad doing it, but they would just mark up the little gingerbread man with anything that they noticed, and then you would put your clothes back on, and that's when you would go to the living quarters. Or after the first night I was here and I woke up, I realized that there were two what looked like payphones with accordion doors. They were toward the very back, right next to the living quarters. And I remember after my first night of a really traumatic experience, waking up, and much like in the visiting rooms, the visiting hours when you're looking forward to your name being called in hopes that somebody came to visit you that day, that's the same way they would call you when there was a call over the intercom. And so you went into one of these booths with the accordion doors, and I'll never forget those, because that was my first connection with my mom that next morning, and I just remember not wanting that moment to end, because that phone cord at that time represented a connection, and I knew she was okay, and we sat there kind of in silence.
So Acorns was originally built to house children under 5, and the idea was to give them more of a family style so that they didn't have to go to the dining hall, which is why there is a kitchen and a dining room area, and to make it more friendly, have a separate playground for the children under 5.
As I mentioned to you earlier, when I arrived with my brother and sister, we were immediately separated, and that was after being ripped away from our mother, very traumatizing. And so again, during all those little times when you would see rows of different ages walking to either go eat or do an activity, I would always look to see where they were, or I'd get a shot of my baby brother, or a glimpse of my sister. This is an incredible improvement, to be able to house siblings together and just maintain that sense of connection that I just can't express how important this space is. And I do believe it was co-ed dining. The boys and the girls would eat together, but that's absolutely the kitchen. Every bit of it reminds me of when I was here, and the staff this was kind of a comfort area. This was an emotional place, so when I come in, I just remember walking into tables that were facing toward the door, and I just remember when it was time to leave and visiting hour was over, not wanting to leave. So, yeah.
HomeAid was a major contributor for raising funds for the raised beds in the garden. They actually came out, staff from HomeAid and a few other volunteers too, and we had a day where we just took the materials that were donated from the funds, and we put in the work and build these beautiful raised beds. So, and it really speaks a lot to our youth as well, when they see partners in the community outside of the receiving home come and donate their time and show up and do something that's going to impact their experience here. So
we are proud of our facility, and the only way that we can keep a campus of 6 acres up to speed and clean and tidy and beautiful is to have partnerships with the community, and HomeAid has been an amazing partner.